I think what we've had happen is the market return to where it normally operates, which is there are good investments to be made, but normally people are afraid to make them because they don't want to look foolish in 6 to 12 months. So over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 years, people were fairly consistently being rewarded and therefore weren't really asking themselves, will I look foolish 6 months from now, or will I look foolish a year from now? So now we're back to the point where people are scared. The lousy markets move money from weak hands to strong hands. So there are great bargains out there right now for those that have 5-year outlooks rather than 6 to 12-month outlooks. And I think that's the big story is everyone wants to put Humpty Dumpty back together the way it was, and we don't think that that's likely to happen in this environment.
All right, Brad, do you see it the way Bill does? In other words, that people have moved from comfort to fear, and that opens up opportunities?
I do think there are opportunities out there, Ty, but I think the thing is, we've seen this kind of, it's not so much the confidence has gone away by historical standards, because the valuations are still quite high. But yes, valuations are low by recent standards, and we can see they can bounce back with headlines. So this isn't about the fundamentals, this is about confidence. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to continue to see the headlines until the earnings reports start to come out, until the better data comes out, and then fundamentals will take control again.
Bill, I do think, we hear so many people coming on and talking about how there is going to be volatility next year, and they're getting defensive and they're cautious. And, it's unlike, I think, last year where it was completely the opposite. And everyone was bullish and everybody thought they were pointing to the Trump tax cuts and the improved environment and saying 2018 is going to be a great year. So 2018 has not been great, hasn't been terrible, Bill, but maybe 2019, if everyone is so defensive, could surprise to the upside.
Your point is super, Kelly. 2017 was a freak. And statistically, it was a freak. This is my 38th year of participating in the stock market as a professional. And I would say 80% of the time you buy with trepidation because you know you're going to do well over the long term. And 20% of the time you're in a year like 1995 or 1997 or 2017 where it goes right, the corrections are mild, and everybody wraps their arms around each other and says kumbaya. That's very unusual. It's much more usual for you to be afraid of what might happen in the short run if you're going to be wrong. And that's why stock picking is going to be so important going forward here. There are, if you break the S&P 500 down into 5 PE quintiles, there are an amazing number of outstanding companies that trade very close to 10 or 11 or 12 times earnings. I think Leon Cooperman said the same thing on your network.
Give us a quick such as, Bill. Quick name.
Such as Discovery Communications is the premier reality television company, and their stock trades compared to next year's earnings at a very low price earnings ratio, and they've rehired Chip and Joanna, who are America's darlings.
You don't have to tell me.
Bank America, JP Morgan, Amgen just raised their dividend, and their dividend yield's higher than the 10-year Treasury, and trades at a very reasonable multiple.
Brad, quick question for you. I see that you think growth is going to moderate next year, 2 to 2.5%. Inflation's not going to be a risk. Stocks often perform pretty well with modest growth and modest inflation.
And I think that's exactly right. I mean, I'm actually looking to see maybe 10% gains next year for the S&P 500. We don't have to do a lot there. We just have to see earnings grow about where they're expected to and have valuations stay where they are right now, which is pretty close to the lows of the past 5 years. So that's not really an aggressive call. That's a very reasonable call. There are some opportunities out there.